Good morning, my dear students. Another online session with you. We have discussed about coordination compounds, their IUPAC name, and how to name coordination compounds. In this session, we move to another topic in coordination chemistry. So we have to see now what is effective atomic number rule, or what is EAN rule. Effective atomic number or effective atomic number rule predicts the stability of a coordination compound. It gives an idea about how much a complex is stable, and this stability is in comparison with the noble gas configuration. To calculate EAN rule, we have to think about the total number of electrons present in the coordination sphere of the coordination compound. That means we have to consider the total number of electrons present in the central atom or ion and the electrons donated by the ligand. So, effective atomic number is defined as the total number of electrons linked with the central metal atom or ion plus the electrons donated by the ligands. If this number is equal to noble gas configuration, we could say the complex is stable. So, effective atomic number rule says that if the total number of electrons present in the coordination sphere is equal to nearest noble gas configuration, the complex is stable. To calculate EAN, we have to consider the total number of electrons present in the central metal atom or ion and the number of electrons donated by the ligands. So, when we consider the total number of electrons, we can use this particular equation to calculate EAN, where Z is the atomic number of the central metal atom, and X is the number of electrons lost during the formation of metal ion. That means the metal, when converted to metal ion, it loses some electron. That number of electron is X. For example, if N plus is the oxidation state of the central metal ion, that means it lost N electrons. If the central metal atom is iron, which is in the Fe2 plus oxidation state, that means the value of X is 2 because it has lost 2 electrons. And Y designates the number of electrons donated by the ligands. We know each ligand, if it is a monodendritic ligand, donate a pair of electrons to the central metal atom. So, using this particular equation, EAN is equal to Z minus X plus Y will give you the effective atomic number of that coordination compound. Okay, take down. Now, using suitable example, we will explain effective atomic number rule. See, I am taking a coordination compound here, that is K4FeCN6. When we consider this particular coordination compound, the central metal atom is iron. And we know effective atomic number rule could be calculated by the equation Z minus X plus Y, where Z is the atomic number of the metal, X is the number of electrons lost, and Y is the number of electrons donated by the ligands. In this particular case, iron is the central metal atom, and we know the atomic number of iron is 26. And in this particular complex, iron is in the +2 oxidation state, That means it has to lose 2 electrons to become Fe2 plus ion. So 2 is the value for X, where X is the number of electrons lost during the formation of the metal ion from the atom. And we have 6 ligands here. Cn is a monodentate ligand and it donates a pair of electrons. So 6 ligands are there. 6 into 2, 12. So calculating EAN rule, 24 plus 2 into 6, that is equal to 36. And 36 is equal to the atomic number of krypton. Hence we can say this particular complex is stable. Take down. Now we will take another example to calculate the effective atomic number rule. See here, the compound is CrCO6. CrCO6. So here the central metal atom is chromium and the ligand is Co. So the atomic number of chromium is 24. And here Co is a neutral ligand. Hence the oxidation state of chromium is 0. So X is equal to 0. And there is 6 ligands which donate 2 electrons. So Y become 12. So 24 minus 0 plus 12, that is equal to 36. So the effective atomic number of this complex CrCO6 is 36. Now take another example, ZnNH3 4 times 2 plus. Here the central metal atom is zinc. Atomic number of zinc is 30. And the oxidation state is +2. That means 30 minus 2, that is equal to 28, plus Y. Here 4 ligands are there. Each ligand donate a pair of electrons. So 8. So 28 plus 8, that is equal to 36. Okay. Now take this molecule and calculate. Now we are moving to next topic, that is the factors affecting the stability of the coordination compound. We know for any coordination compound there should be a central metal ion and there should be ligands. So naturally, the factors affecting the stability of the complex come under two headings. That is, one, the nature of the central metal ion, and second one, the nature of the ligand. Moving to the first, that is the nature of the metal ion, we could say when we move from size of the atom, that is the ionic size of the central metal ion, it was observed that as the size of the central metal ion increases, the stability of the coordination compound decreases. That means greater the size of the central metal ion, smaller its stability. If we are taking first transition series, we know cadmium is the element or the metal ion belongs to the left hand side, while zinc is the extreme end of first transition series. When we compare the size of zinc and cadmium, zinc is having a smaller size than cadmium. So we can say zinc having a smaller size than cadmium forms more stable complex. So we can say when we move from left to right in periodic table, the size of the central metal ion decreases and hence the stability of the coordination compound increases. Moving to next factor, that is the ionic charge. It was observed that greater the charge on the coordination compound, metal ion, greater the stability of the coordination compound. If I take same metal ion with different oxidation state, for example Fe2 and Fe3, Fe3 forms stable complex rather than Fe2. So we can say highly charged cation can form more stable coordinate compounds, or metal ion with higher oxidation state forms more stable complex than lower oxidation state. So these two are coming under the heading nature of the central metal ion. Take down. The second factor that affects the stability of the coordination compound is the nature of the ligand. We know ligands are substance or atoms or group of atoms which donate lone pair of electrons to the central metal atom or ion. Hence we can say greater the charge on the ligand and smaller the size of the ligand, it forms more stable complexes. Or we can say greater the charge density of the ligand. Charge density means higher charge and small size. More stable will be the coordination compound. And next is the basic character. We know ligands are donating lone pair of electrons to the central metal atom. If it could easily donate the lone pair of electrons, then it is more basic. So we can say greater the basic character of the ligand, easily it can donate lone pair of electrons and hence greater the stability of the resulting coordination compound. So greater the charge density and greater basic character of the ligand favor the formation of stable coordination compound. Another factor that affects the stability of coordination compound is chelate effect or chelating ligands. We know chelating ligands are ligands which form ring structure with the central metal atom or ion. And we know chelating ligands are stable than monodentate ligands because chelate rings can form ring structure. Hence, the stability of the coordination compound increases with the chelating ligands than the non-chelating ligands. Moving to the stability of the chelating ligands or chelates, the stability depends upon the ring size of the chelate ring. If it forms a 5-membered ring, it is more stable than a 4-membered ring. So, for any metal chelates, the ring structure predict the stability of the coordination compound. So, 5-membered rings are more stable than 4-membered rings. Take down. Now we move to Werner's coordination theory. Alfred Werner was the first scientist to say anything about the structure and bonding in coordination compound. And using his postulates, he was able to explain the bonding and structure of all coordination compounds available at that time. So he is considered as the father of coordination chemistry, and for his theory he got Nobel Prize in 1916. He explained the structure of coordination compounds using his postulate. But later a large number of coordination compounds were discovered and he was not able to explain the structures of almost all coordination compounds using his theory. Still, he is the first scientist to say anything about the structure and bonding of coordination compounds. The important postulates of his coordination theories are: for any coordination compound, there should be a central metal atom, and the central metal atom exhibit two types of valencies, a primary valency and a secondary valency. The primary valency always corresponds to the oxidation state of the central metal atom, while the secondary valency corresponds to the coordination number of the central metal atom. That means number of ligands surrounding the central metal atom. The primary valencies are ionizable. That means when dissolved in water, they get dissociated. But the secondary valencies are non-ionizable. Any coordination compound should have a fixed number of secondary valencies. The primary valency is always satisfied by anions or negatively charged ions, while the secondary valencies could be satisfied by anions or even by neutral molecules. The primary valencies are non-directional. That means they does not predict the geometry and they are represented by dotted lines. While secondary valencies are directional, they predict the shape of the coordination compound and they are represented by thick continuous lines. So, the primary and secondary valency of the coordination compound predicts the bonding and structural pattern. If the central metal atom is having 6 secondary valency, the shape will be octahedral. If the secondary valency is 4, then it should be tetrahedral or square planar. So, as per Werner's coordination theory, the central metal atom exhibits two types of valencies, primary and secondary. And the difference between primary and secondary valency we have seen. Primary valencies are non-ionizable, primary valencies are ionizable, while secondary valencies are non-ionizable. Primary valency corresponds to the oxidation state, while secondary valency corresponds to the coordination number. Primary valency does not have any impact on shape or geometry, while secondary valency predicts the geometry of the coordination compound. Primary valencies are represented by dotted lines, while secondary valencies are represented by thick, dark, black lines. Take down. Now, taking some examples, we will explain Werner's coordination theory. See here, I am taking the coordination compound CO, Cl3, 6NH3. At that time, coordination compounds were represented like this, not in square bracket as we represent now. So when we consider this particular coordination compound, we have to explain the structure of this particular coordination compound using Werner's coordination theory. See, here the central metal atom is cobalt and this 6NH3 are the ligands. They satisfy the secondary valency. While this 3Cl dotted lines represented Cl represent the primary valency. That means the primary valency corresponds to the oxidation state of cobalt. So here 6NH3 are surrounding cobalt metal and hence this is a octahedral complex. Now take another example. When we take this example COCl3 5NH3, there is only 5NH3 is here. So we have to explain how Werner was able to explain the structure of this coordination compound. See here, cobalt is surrounded by 5NH3 and 1Cl is acting as a ligand as well as it satisfies the primary valency. So that Cl is connected by thick line as well as by dotted lines. That means this Cl act as a ligand and predict the geometry and it act as a primary valency also. That is why we show both the lines for chlorine. Now see next example. CO Cl3 4NH3. Here also 2Cl act as primary valency as well as secondary valency. That means it is connected to the central metal atom through thick lines as well as dotted lines. So this only one chlorine atom satisfy the primary valency while these two chlorine atoms satisfy both the secondary as well as primary valency. That means this chlorine atom and this chlorine atom act as the ligand, also they satisfy the oxidation state of cobalt. So using Werner's coordination theory, he was able to explain the structure of almost all coordination compounds at that time. Okay, take down.